Morning, everyone. It's Thursday, February 1st, 2024. This is the Policy and Procedure Committee meeting. Amanda, would you call the roll, please?
Barron.
Yes.
Alt.
Here.
Whitlow.
Here.
Sure.
Everyone has a copy of the agenda in front of them. Do we have a motion to approve that? Mr. Barron, seconded by Mr. Whitlow. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. Next is public comments.
Yes, Danforth Township Road Commissioner and the road commissioners in the county, and we're here just to try to pump up with Joe Moore passing away 10 months ago, to pump up the hiring of someone that's 10 months. And without him signing or the superintendent signing anything, long-term projects can't get done. The letting was fine, but after that, long-term projects cannot be signed. It cannot be done unless they're signed by a superintendent of highways. So we'd like to, the board, discuss and plan on the man that we've got on board and possibly hire him so he can get on board with the county and the commissioners, because it'll probably take 2 months for him to get on board and then get used to all of us. So just like to see the county board go ahead with the hiring of our one applicant. So, thank you.
Any other public comments this morning? Seeing none, we'll move on to Mr. EMA report.
Good morning, everybody. Have your copies in front of you. It's kind of been a busy month. So we've added a fourth page. There you go. First of all, I'm not gonna read it all. You can go into more detail. We kind of had a non-incident down in Woodland with a freight train engine that caught fire, and a report that was made to the Illinois EPA because of what was supposedly a diesel fuel spill. It was unfounded by fire on scene, and although a report was filed, I contacted my Region 7 coordinator and confirmed with him that nothing was really needed to be done within the county because there was no reportable quantities. But I figured I'd put it in there anyways because a report was actually filed listing Iroquois County, so it's kind of a non-event. But bigger was, of course, the weather, the combination of the temperatures and snow and then the thaw and rain. Can be quite busy. I was out looking over flooding locations. I was looking over everywhere in the county towards the end of it just to see if the levels hit the highest. But majority of the time was spent following along with National Weather Service's reports and warnings, passing them out on Facebook, making sure everybody was aware of what was going on. It was a continuous process for a period of time there. But was able to work my way through it. Move down to the potential issues that we might have with migrants. I've been working close with Sheriff Brzee, and we have prepared, he put it together, working with me and a few other of our people that we had to move potential busloads of migrants from Iroquois County onto their final destination in Chicago. I was just one cog in the group that was moving, but I asked Sheriff to come down today if he wants to interject more. He's got more of it with him, so.
I think Amanda printed the copy off for you.
It's on the agenda in a little bit that we're gonna
Okay.
go over the whole matter, so maybe we can.
You wanna just hold up on that? Okay, sir.
That sounds good.
Well, I went forward to what was the natural hazard mitigation plan. The response was overwhelming. More than 50 people attended. The breakdown is here. It was quite a bit more than was anticipated. The representatives from American Environmental were just overjoyed with how many that we had. And even since then, we're added people that are going to be attending the next meeting that were not part of that first original group. So that list is probably going to grow. So I'm not gonna go through and read them all off. They're here. You can see who attended based on their who they represented, but, again, it was a really, really good showing. We're gonna have some good support on what is this time around for the hazard mitigation plan, so. Grants as usual, continuing on with my filings. I did some training this month, not as much as last, but a lot of other things that were going on. Regular meetings, LEPC, Mutual Aid Association. Attended that last night, and I took the time to really thank everybody for allowing us to use their building for what was the plan meeting, mitigation plan meeting. Thank them all for the good showing within the fire districts. And let them know that, hey, the next time around, we're doing it again, and they welcomed us back to the building. So the next hazard mitigation plan meeting in April will be held at the maintenance building in Crescent City once again. Had my normal meeting with the Amateur Radio Club. There's still strong support there. I'm trying to always solicit volunteers. National Weather Service spotting class, February 15th, is coming up. Again, the response has been great. We've got already more than 30 people that have actually clicked on the links to request what would be, quote, tickets. It's a there's no cost to it, but that allows us to see how many people are gonna be showing up. And we also know that there's gonna be more organizations that will be represented with groups of people, so that number is gonna climb. I'll put out some more information on that over the course of the next week. I'll probably send another email message to everybody on the board just to, if you guys are interested in the crane class. It's gonna be a lot of fun, very informative. My January 3rd meeting in Romeoville with the National Weather Service in regards to our Storm Ready County designation went amazing. Tomorrow in my EOC is the final hurdle. The Storm Ready board has to convene. They've already gone over the application process and they see no flaws in it whatsoever, so this is more of a formality. But following that meeting tomorrow, we can receive the Storm Ready designation for the county. They've told me that they're probably going to make that announcement at our Storm Spotter class, but then there's going to be a formal presentation, which is going to involve state officials, county officials, the media. I mean, there's going to be an actual press release on that. It'll be out and hopefully a press conference because again, there's only 38 other counties in the state of Illinois that have achieved that designation, and we'll be adding to that. And I also found out that by achieving the designation of Storm Ready County, it may assist in lowering the flood insurance premiums for people.
Well, if we're gonna be a storm ready county, when is the storm coming?
Can't guarantee it, but we'll be ready when it comes. So, but moving on down to my EMA volunteers, it's kind of a large paragraph, but it's about something specific that's been offered. Recently, the city of Watseka, their heavy rescue squad, which is a walk-in vehicle, had an issue, and it was taken out of service and it was replaced. And Chief Byer with the fire department has made it available to me with EMA for no cost. He's gonna donate it to EMA if we're willing to take it on. It would be amazing for what we could do, what I'm planning on doing with my volunteers. It could be utilized as a mobile command post. It's already set up with all the county radios. I would have to contact the state about putting a Starcom radio in it, but it could be used as a mobile command post. It could be used as rehab, a rehab sector for fire departments or even law enforcement. If a major incident happens, someplace to go to receive nourishment, to receive water, coffee if it's cold, a lot of different things. That's something that is overlooked in the smaller communities because personnel just isn't available, but EMA could handle that. It does in many other communities. So it could be utilized for that. There's an endless list of things that this vehicle could be put in service with. If it were to be purchased brand new now, a vehicle like this would easily run between $500,000 and $750,000. Now, this is an older vehicle. It's a 1983, and as it sits right now, the engine isn't any good. But if I get permission to research this further from the county board, I would like to see if I can get an engine possibly either donated along with what would be the labor to install it. And then I would follow up and find out what exactly the costs would be in regards to having a vehicle like this before anything happens. I'm not just saying, hey, give it to me. There's a lot of research that needs to be done, but this is the first hurdle. I wanna look into it and then come back to you guys and say, hey, this is what I found, this is what we can do. But to have an asset like that for EMA would benefit all of the county fire departments, law enforcement. I mean, it would give us the ability to give back, and to have something like this presented to us at no cost. I just can't not take the opportunity to look it over and see what more would be involved with it. But that's where we're at now. There's nothing guaranteed that says, hey, this is gonna be parked out back here in a minute. It's not. But Kenny Byer, the fire department, has told me that it's not going anywhere until I tell him. No. So. That's what I'm kind
Well, I
of.
guess to answer your question, unless someone has any objection, it doesn't cost any money to do research, so.
That's basically what I was looking for, but I didn't wanna start anything without permission, so.
We cannot make decisions without information.
Absolutely, so. Well, then I will go forward and see what more information I can dig up, and I'll present it back at the next meeting again. This is not something that I plan on doing anything with, over the course of a month, so. I'll bring back some more information.
I think one thing that might be of value too would be to schedule some opportunity for the board to take a look at the piece of equipment. I'm
Absolutely.
familiar with it.
Sure. I mean, right now, it's parked under the Smiley Face Water Tower out there, at what would be the impound lot, because it had to be removed from the station. I mean, it is drivable, but unless we've got a big mosquito problem going on right now, you don't wanna drive it much. So it leaves a nice big white cloud everywhere it goes, but again, that's why they got rid of it, and that's why the city bought them a replacement piece of equipment. So, social media, again, I've spent a lot of time over the last month making posts advising people about the different warnings and the like within the county. Followed very close with all of the flood warnings, attaching photos of what would be the graphs from the National Weather Service pages. And I've gotten a really good response from people. We've added quite a few numbers to that. So we're getting a very good public response from that. So, last little paragraph in there, I'm scheduled to attend training in Aurora from February 12th through the 15th. So I will not be present. As long as it's something that doesn't change within my schedule, I will not be present at the fall county board meeting, so.
What does that have to do for the LEPC meeting?
Well, it will be available, I just will probably not be present, so. There's our chairman and our vice chairman, they can handle things that are there, so,
Okay,
but other than that, so.
anyone has any questions about Scott's report? Okay, we'll move along to the committee chair reports. Mr. Barron with management.
Well, talking about the morgue, I'm sure we have some updates on that. Talk about the farm, the Grant Street project probably. So I'm sure we'll be busy for at least 10 minutes during the meeting.
Very good. Do you want to talk about finance at the same time?
No, he hasn't told me anything that's going on, so I don't really know what. I don't know if there's a whole lot going on.
I don't either. I don't think there's anything out of the ordinary. Okay, Mr. Whitlow, judicial.
We get the usual reports and, is Sisson and Buckley on board now, Clint, for we're patrolling Sisson and Buckley
Yes.
now?
Yep.
Okay, how are we coming with the part-time correctional officers? Have got any in mind, or?
We've got one that's been working. I've got about 4 applications that we're looking at bringing those on as well.
Good deal. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Alt, highway.
I have a large group of claims that go through again. We placed an ad to replace Susan when she plans to leave. Had 2 responses. I will not comment on them because we surely would like to do something better than a 2-sentence application as one of them was.
Not real optimistic situation there. Okay. Other chairman comments? I just wanted to mention that over the past month, I've attended flood meetings over in Indiana. I continue to be very impressed with the way they do things and embarrassed with the way we do things so far as management of our river and water resources of that type is concerned. KRBC has a budget of in excess of about $3 million that they plan to spend every year on log jam removals and bank stabilization procedures and practices. And they seem to be doing a very excellent job with that. The other organization over there called the Iroquois River Conservancy, which meets in Rensselaer, doesn't have anywhere near the budget, but their programs are similar or just on a much smaller scale. The other thing that I did want to mention is that anybody that might be interested, there's another award scheduled for our retiring Senator Bennett. It's going to be held down in Gibson City this Saturday. I've got more information on it in case anybody's interested in attending. That's pretty much the extent of my comments for this morning, so we'll move along to the discussion and action on the Paid Leave for Workers Act. Everybody should have a copy of that. It was emailed out January 10th. Nobody got a copy of it?
I brought mine.
Good. One guy's on the ball. At our last meeting, if you remember, we discussed this new legislation that was put into place that requires every employee, no matter who they are or where they are, to be given paid leave. And I guess I have one question with what was drafted by Jill and Amanda. The question that come up was county board members eligible. I thought the state's attorney said we aren't, but there isn't anything in this that says that. Do you have any information on that part of it, Amanda?
He said that you're not. I don't know. Jill, when we looked through this, I don't know if she's hearing me.
I guess I'm not lobbying for vacation for county board members, but I think there's other people that may also be exempted, and I think they should be identified in our policy as to who is and who is not included. I think it's also significant to note that there is legislation that's been introduced down in Springfield that's supposed to exempt all county personnel. Whether that's gonna pass or not, obviously, is something that hasn't happened yet. I don't know what the outcome is gonna be. There's another piece of legislation down there that exempts employees that are categorized as needed employees. And I think there's some question about the interpretation of that as well. But both of those things, if they become law, we'll have to deal with them, I guess, when they do, so. Anybody have any thoughts or comments on what what was put together.
How does it differ from what we had? Did we not have some type of, or was it just paid vacation before?
What this does is has to do with the vacation section. That's just not a while.
But, I mean,
The part that's in red, I don't know if yours is in red, the part that's in red are the changes that are being proposed to our existing
Stacked
policy.
and ready.
Yours in red.
are we basically swapping vacation time for paid leave time, the way I read it?
Well, I guess it depends on your definition of it. They're synonymous, aren't they?
Well, I guess. I mean, does it, other than changing how it's labeled, does it change a lot, really?
No, it's basically that the state law required, new state law requires that everybody, on the first day they begin work, it's, or as, when the date this became
It's how it's
effective,
accrued, when it's accrued.
accrues time. Not, I know, in the past, you had to be here for certain length of time before you were eligible. Now you're eligible the first day you start work. Except we're saying 90 days. I guess that's within the limits of the legislation. Basically, what we're talking about is a change to our policy, personnel policy.
Has the state's attorney looked at
He's
those?
looked at this and he's in agreement with it. So, I don't know that there's, at this point, my feeling is that as long as this, in his view, and our view, complies with the new legislation, it's something that we probably should adopt. But we should bear in mind what I mentioned a few minutes ago, that there is legislation pending that may change all this. It may be that next summer, we'll go right back to what we had before, if we're exempted.
I guess they said the final rule won't be out until March, is that correct?
Right.
So,
Yeah, you have time to discuss it, because they're still making some changes up until March. So basically what we came up with is changing the vacation policy to be the PLAWA, or the Paid Leave for All Workers Act policy. Differences are they can use this time for any reason of their choosing, and an employee is not required to provide an employer with a reason for taking the paid leave. We kept in the policy about members who are part of an organized labor union. Obviously, that agreement will supersede this. Changing the policy, basically full-time employees scheduled 35 hours or more a week will be eligible for paid leave. The paid leave begins to accrue on their first day of employment, whereas prior to this policy, it was after 1 year that they would get 10 working days. So the changes that you'll notice in the policy includes first day of employment to year 1 is 40 working hours. However, that begins on March 30th of 2024, or 90 days after the commencement of their employment date. So hourly, part-time, seasonal, and temporary employees will receive 1 hour of paid leave for every 40 hours worked in a 12-month period, per what the statute is reading, up to a maximum of 40 hours of paid leave in a 12-month period. Paid leave will start on their first day of employment, i.e. their anniversary, or on effective date of PLAWA, which is March 30th. We have what we call piecework employees, so like animal control, for example, they get paid per call, dependent on the call, or kennel duties. And these employees are also classified as, part-time workers. And their hours will be determined by the date of work. So each date will equate to 7 working hours, 1 hour of paid leave will be received for every 40 hours worked in a 12-month period. What else did we change in here? Okay, so the other change is prior to this, we had, that the time can be used in increments of no less than a half a day. That has changed. They can use it as minute as 2 hours unless the employee's scheduled workday is less than 2 hours, in which case the employee's scheduled workday shall be used to determine the amount of paid leave taken. Kept in the policy is paid leave not taken within the 12 months following, same as we currently have it with vacation time, has to be, or may be carried over with the approval of the department head. Again, keep in mind, any union contract supersedes this policy. The employer also may require that employees provide up to 7 calendar days of notice. That's new, and there are certain areas where an employer can deny any requests of employees use paid leave, such as staffing that would fall below minimum levels, emergency situations, or employee absences that would hamper employers' ability to meet critical workflow obligations or deadline. Also changed in the policy is if an employee is separated from employment with an employer and is rehired within 12 months of separation, the previous accrued paid leave that has not been used by the employee shall be reinstated. And they can use it at the commencement of their reemployment. If they are transferred to a separate division or department, entity, or location, the employee is entitled to use their paid leave as well. Separation of employment, employees will be paid for unused paid leave, which is the same as it is now with vacation time. Employees are paid for unused vacation time. Let's see.
So we are going to pay them for that?
So if you're paid for it, but then your time can be reinstated, doesn't that kind of contradict itself?
I thought so too, but that's how it reads, and I verified with Jim, and his email is also included in what I forwarded
So
you
you're gonna
guys.
pay them out and then you have to give them days back? That is the stupidest lie I've ever heard.
I thought that it said that it wasn't.
If you did not have to pay it out if you make a complete separate paid leave policy, which would then incur more time off that would go along with your current vacation and sick policy, then you do not have to pay it out. It's, we
That doesn't make sense.
beat our head against the wall trying to figure out what would be the most logistical way to go about abiding by this new policy and not costing a bunch of money or having, more than additional time, because we already have very generous leave policies.
I guess in effect what they're saying is, you leave, get paid out, we ain't hiring you back, at least not within the time period that,
Yeah,
you know.
try again in a year, but
Yeah.
Okay, that still leaves the question that I asked unanswered. Should we identify in this policy who's covered and who isn't covered?
If we can determine it, yes.
Identified anywhere else.
that's up to the committee. We try to not make it as detailed, because if we make it as detailed as possible, then it becomes, okay, we have to abide, point by point as to what we're doing in this policy. It has been the policy that elected or appointed do not receive this benefit, because there's really no hours set before you. However, I ran that by Jim, he agreed, but, that's open for interpretation and discussion.
Can we
It's up
just,
to you guys what you wanna do.
can we just put something that those covered would follow the state statute or something to that effect?
That's already listed,
Okay,
that's under purpose, it's the very first sentence, paid leave for all workers, Act PLAWA, following 820 ILCS 192-1.
okay, so
I guess to my point though is that all of us may agree with that so-called unwritten policy, but pardon for saying this, but let's say that Mr. Anderson is not included in that and he thinks he should be. Now where do we go?
Here we can get somebody that agrees with us.
Or Mr. Geiger, for example, says, I'm a county board member, I'm a county employee.
That's why this policy was provided by a lawyer through our insurance company, and it also was reviewed by our state's attorney, because our state's attorney would have final,
I know you're not
I guess.
you're not answering the question.
I am answering your question, because if Mr. Geiger, for example, had a question as of if he's eligible for it, that wouldn't be a county board or us decision, it got approved through our state's attorney's office, we would have to ask for our state's attorney's opinion on that matter of whether or not he would be eligible for these funds.
And if we put anything specific now, if they're talking about actually passing an amendment to it that's going to clarify it, then we probably don't wanna be too specific either. If we leave it so that it's subject to the statute, then when they clarify it, then it's automatically clarified.
I think it can be very confusing.
Vague as can be.
And again, that's why I got this to you guys approximately a month ago, so you can think about it and make some decisions, because ultimately it's gotta be approved by this committee, so it would be your decision.
I think at this point, since we don't get the final rules until next month, that we wait and see what those final rules are, rather than passing something and passing something again.
Well, and if there are any other questions that anyone has, if we make those known, maybe we can sit down with the state's attorney and have a discussion about it, to see whether it should or should not be. Makes sense? Is that what we'd like to do, to table the matter till next month?
Yes, I move we table the matter.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Table until next month. Okay. Next one on the agenda, discussion and action regarding the resolution declaring Iroquois County a non-sanctuary county for illegal immigration. You should have in front of you a copy of the resolution that's being proposed, and also a copy of the policy that the sheriff has drafted. Our purpose is not to approve the sheriff's policy, that's his business. But it dovetails into the resolution that we're examining here. I will tell you up front, this resolution was prepared by our state's attorney. And what he did was he took the resolution that was passed last month in Kankakee County, and he changed a few words in it, and now it's the Iroquois County resolution. I have a question. If you go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the seventh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The sixth whereas says declaring, and the last part of it says declaring Illinois a sanctuary state for immigration. My recommendation is would be that we eliminate that phrase. The rest of it can stay the same. I don't like the idea of anything that says Illinois is a sanctuary state.
We got the sheriff's
Yeah, they got
policy,
the
we did
sheriff's
not
policy,
get
that's right.
the other.
You don't have this?
No,
It was emailed to you.
yeah, I read it, it's just we don't have it in front of us.
Pass it down. Everything else is in there is, in my view, is okay, it's just that one part that I would prefer not to have in there. I don't know that it's a deal breaker one way or the other, but I just not comfortable with the idea of anything that we put out that says Illinois is a sanctuary state. I think that's, in essence, could be misinterpreted.
So you just propose to take that whereas out,
Well, that's up.
or do you wanna change it
I'm
somehow?
suggesting, I mean, if we want to adopt this resolution, this is what the state's attorney has prepared for us, and I'm fine with all of it except for that one thing.
No verbiage about that at all, be better off, agree.
Just what I insert with, the rest of that paragraph is fine.
I don't see a problem with taking it out. As long as the state's attorney doesn't feel that it's necessary.
Okay. You have a copy of what the sheriff is planning to do. So what he's planning to do, as I said, that dovetails into this resolution, so. We're not approving what the sheriff has done, but it's something that we need to be understanding is gonna be part and parcel. This resolution helps to empower what he's doing, what we're doing helps to empower what he's doing. But there's serious questions about who's empowered to do what in this matter, and who has the resources to do it, and so forth. Does anybody have any issues or questions about what the sheriff is planning to do? Is there anything you wanted to add to it, Sheriff?
I think it's gonna be a collaborative effort, if this does happen. This includes a lot of people, including the show bus. That's kind of our only, sticking point is the show bus. Iroquois County doesn't have any other transportation options other than that. River Valley Metro could not come down here to pick up any migrants. It's really our best bet. But Laura, which the show bus, has been very gracious and able to work with us. So, as soon as we're aware of a situation, we'll all start making phone calls and enacting that plan, so. But I did wanna make sure that, we were doing it the proper way, and not just busing them to a location and providing a problem for someone else. So that's why I included the phone calls to Chicago and to Mr. Estevez, I believe. So he said that's the way the plan should be operating.
You've seen the resolution, Mr.
I have not, no.
You what?
I have not.
You have not?
No.
Would you like to see it?
Sure.
A whole bunch of whereases in it.
Yeah.
That's the way Andy really works. I will also tell you while the sheriff is looking at that, yesterday I got an email from our friends at the UCCI down in Springfield. And they're soliciting copies of similar resolutions from counties that have passed them. They're saying there are a lot of counties in the state that wanna pass something like this as well, and they're wanting to see what other people are doing. So if we pass ours at the board meeting, we can certainly forward ours to the UCCI if that's what everybody thinks is okay.
plan is designed just to get them to their final destination. Because communities are not set up, to house, that many people.
Have you checked with, have you checked with the road commissioners to see if they have room?
We can transport them.
Get them to,
I think that's the best plan we can do at this point, so.
All right, that being the case, is there a motion to approve this resolution? Okay, second by Mr. Behrens. Would you call the roll, please, Amanda?
Barons,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Whitlow,
yes.
Sure,
Yes. All right, that takes us down to the next place on the agenda, which would be going into executive session. So I would entertain a motion to do that at this point.
I move we go into executive session under 5 ILCS 120/3/C1, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employee under the public or the public file.
Is there a second to that motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
You too.
We'll be going into
Never who you figure out.
Hey, sounds good, I'll text you.
Next thing on it.
But